The bridge of the Zorn primary command vessel hummed with a quiet confidence that bordered on arrogance. Captain Vornak studied the holographic display of Earth, his four-fingered hand resting casually on the navigation control. Decades of interstellar conquest had taught him that most species crumbled at the first sign of overwhelming force. Earth looked deceptively fragile from orbit. Blue and green, wrapped in wisps of white cloud, the planet seemed almost delicate. Sensor arrays mapped out major population centers, critical infrastructure, and defense systems. The preliminary analysis was brutally simple: minimal planetary defense, rudimentary space technology, and a species barely united under a single global governance. "Preliminary bombardment sequence prepared," announced the tactical officer, a reptilian creature with metallic scales that shifted color with each emotional fluctuation. Estimated resistance time: approximately 3 standard planetary cycles. Vornak allowed himself a rare smile. The Zorn Imperium had conquered civilizations far more advanced, crushed resistance movements that had lasted centuries. This would be nothing more than a routine acquisition. Beneath the calm exterior of the alien invasion fleet, something extraordinary was taking shape on the planet's surface. In underground research facilities, military bunkers, and improvised command centers, humanity was doing what it did best: adapting, planning, and refusing to accept defeat. Dr. Elena Rodriguez hunched over a complex array of monitoring equipment in a reinforced facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Her team represented a cross-section of human potential: engineers, mathematicians, former military strategists, and computer scientists. They had been preparing for this moment longer than anyone outside their circle knew. "Incoming energy signatures matching our predictive models," she called out, her voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. Around her, screens flickered with complex data streams, tracking the approaching alien fleet with unprecedented detail. In a separate command center beneath the Pentagon, military leaders watched the incoming threat with a mixture of determination and calculated strategy. General Michael Chen studied the holographic displays, his mind racing through countless scenarios. The initial reports suggested total destruction of major cities, but they had a plan, and plans within plans. "Decentralization protocol is active," Chen murmured to his second-in-command. "They won't find a single easy target." Across the world, preparations that had been decades in the making were coming to fruition. Underground bunkers activated, critical infrastructure was being protected, and a resistance network that spanned continents began to mobilize. The first energy weapons from the Zorn fleet struck major cities with devastating precision. Massive explosions lit up the night, destroying landmarks and infrastructure. To the alien commanders, this looked like the beginning of a swift and total conquest. But they were wrong. What the Zorn didn't understand was the true nature of human resilience. Every destroyed building was a lesson. Every fallen communication tower was an opportunity to develop a new strategy. The initial attack, meant to crush human resistance, was instead creating something far more dangerous. In research laboratories, engineers were already stripping down captured alien technology. Communication networks that seemed destroyed were actually rerouting, becoming more resilient with each attack. Military and civilian personnel who appeared scattered were actually implementing carefully designed contingency plans. Sarah Chen, a network security specialist, worked furiously in a hidden facility. Her fingers danced across multiple encrypted channels, coordinating resources, gathering intelligence, and preparing countermeasures. Around her, a diverse team of experts worked with intense focus, representing the true strength of human potential. The alien invasion was supposed to be a formality, a simple acquisition of a primitive world rich in resources. But the Zorn Imperium was about to learn a critical lesson about the species they had so casually targeted. Humanity was not going to be conquered. Not today. Not ever. As the first wave of destruction swept across the planet, something extraordinary began to stir. This was not a world of victims. This was a world of survivors, innovators, and fighters who would reshape the very concept of resistance. The real battle was just beginning. The underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with an intensity that matched the urgency of their situation. Broken pieces of alien technology lay scattered across workbenches, each fragment a puzzle waiting to be solved. Dr. Elena Rodriguez moved between stations, her keen eyes tracking the progress of her interdisciplinary team. Communication network is stabilizing, called out Marcus Webb, a former telecommunications engineer who now wore a dust-covered tactical vest. His fingers flew across multiple holographic interfaces, rerouting signals and creating backup channels faster than the Zorn could track or destroy them. Nearby, a group of engineers worked on dismantling a captured alien weapon. What looked like random deconstruction to an outsider was actually a meticulously planned reverse engineering process. Every circuit, every energy conduit was being studied, analyzed, and understood. In another part of the facility, Sarah Chen continued her digital warfare. Her team of network specialists had already penetrated several alien communication frequencies. What the Zorn believed to be secure channels were now becoming highways of human intelligence gathering. "We've identified 3 primary communication protocols," Sarah reported, her voice calm despite the high-stakes environment. "Each one has vulnerabilities we can exploit." The facility was a microcosm of human potential. Military veterans worked alongside scientists, computer experts collaborated with linguists, and engineers shared insights with medical professionals. The diversity of skills and backgrounds was their greatest weapon. Across the globe, similar scenes of resistance were unfolding. In Tokyo, a research team led by Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura had discovered a way to disrupt alien energy shields using a modified quantum interference technique. In Sao Paulo, a group of civilian engineers was converting captured alien transportation technology into defensive systems. General Michael Chen received updates from multiple resistance cells. The initial invasion had been devastating, but humanity was far from defeated. Underground communication networks were proving more resilient than the Zorn could have imagined. "Decentralization is key," Chen muttered to his second-in-command. The military strategy had changed completely. Instead of defending fixed positions, they were creating a fluid, adaptive resistance that could strike, disappear, and regroup with remarkable speed. In a hidden facility near Cape Canaveral, a team of aerospace engineers made a breakthrough. They had discovered a way to modify captured alien propulsion technology. What was once a weapon of invasion could now become a tool of human defense. "Look at this," Dr. Rebecca Martinez said, pointing to a holographic model of the modified engine. "We can use their own technology against them. The energy signatures can be completely rerouted." The resistance was more than just a military operation. It was a global collaboration that transcended previous boundaries. Nations that had once been rivals now worked together with a singular purpose. Resources were shared, intelligence was pooled, and a collective strategy emerged. Young programmers developed encryption methods that baffled alien communication systems. Mathematicians created predictive models that anticipated Zorn attack patterns. Medical researchers studied captured alien biological data, looking for potential weaknesses. In the streets and underground shelters, civilians became part of the resistance. Communication networks spread like neural pathways, sharing information, coordinating resources, and maintaining hope. Every destroyed building became a rallying point. Every lost communication tower was rebuilt with greater resilience. Sarah Chen's team made a critical discovery. The Zorn communication network, while advanced, had a fundamental flaw. Their centralized command structure meant that a strategic disruption could create massive vulnerabilities. "We're not just defending," Marcus Webb said during a strategy meeting. "We're learning. Every piece of technology they bring is a lesson. Every attack is an opportunity." The alien invaders had made a critical miscalculation. They saw humanity as a singular, easily conquered entity. But humans were something far more complex. They were adaptable, innovative, and driven by a collective spirit that no technological superiority could easily crush. As night fell across the damaged cities, the resistance continued its work. In underground facilities, in hidden research centers, in makeshift communication hubs, humanity was transforming. The invasion was no longer something happening to them. It was something they were actively fighting. The real war was just beginning, and humanity was ready. The orbital defense platform hung in the darkness of space, a testament to human ingenuity and desperation. David Rice studied the holographic display, his fingers hovering over a complex array of modified alien communication systems. Around him, a team of specialists worked with laser-like focus, each member selected for their unique combination of skills and adaptability. Frequency alignment at 78%, called out Lisa Rodriguez, a communications expert who had spent the last week decoding alien signal patterns. Her fingers moved with a musician's precision across the interface, weaving through layers of encrypted transmissions. The plan was audacious. Using captured alien technology and a series of networked quantum communication devices, they would turn the Zorn's own communication infrastructure into a weapon of unprecedented precision. Captain Vornak aboard the primary Zorn command ship felt the first tremors of something going wrong long before the actual attack. A subtle vibration ran through the ship's communication systems, almost imperceptible, but definitely wrong. In the hidden orbital platform, David Rice allowed himself the briefest moment of a smile. Initiating Cascade Protocol, he announced, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to attempt. The attack began not with a massive explosion, but with a series of microscopic disruptions. Communication channels began to flutter and fail. Navigation systems started to produce conflicting data. What looked like minor glitches were actually carefully orchestrated infiltrations of the alien network. Across the orbital fleet, Zorn ships began to experience systemic failures. Energy weapons powered down unexpectedly. Propulsion systems sent conflicting commands. Navigation computers began to display impossible route calculations. "This is impossible," muttered the Zorn tactical officer, his metallic scales shifting to a deep crimson of confusion and growing panic. Screens flickered with nonsensical data, communication channels dissolved into static, and ship after ship began to go dark. The human team worked with surgical precision. Each disruption was carefully calculated, each system failure a deliberate and planned intervention. They weren't just attacking. They were demonstrating a level of technological adaptation that the Zorn had never encountered. In the research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched the operation unfold. Holographic displays tracked the progression of their attack, showing the systematic breakdown of the alien fleet's capabilities. "It's not about destruction," she explained to General Michael Chen, who was observing the operation. "It's about showing them that we can turn their own technology against them." The first wave of ships went dark within minutes, not destroyed, but completely disabled. It was a message as much as an attack. Humanity was not going to be an easy target. Aboard the primary Zorn command ship, Captain Vornak realized the true nature of their miscalculation. This was not a primitive species waiting to be conquered. This was a civilization that could adapt, innovate, and strike back in ways they had never anticipated. "Redistribute energy to defensive systems," Vornak ordered, but it was already too late. The human attack had penetrated too deeply, disrupted too many critical systems. In orbital facilities and hidden communication centers around the Earth, humans celebrated a critical victory. It wasn't just about disabling alien ships. It was about proving that they could fight back, that they could turn overwhelming odds into an opportunity for innovation. Lisa Rodriguez completed a final system check. "All primary objectives achieved," she reported, her voice a mixture of professional calm and underlying excitement. David Rice looked at his team. They were a diverse group: engineers, former military personnel, computer specialists, mathematicians. Each brought a unique skill, a different perspective. This was humanity's true strength, the ability to come together, to adapt, to overcome. The orbital defense platform hummed with a quiet intensity. Outside, the disabled Zorn fleet drifted like silent monuments to human ingenuity. The first counterstrike was complete, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real war was just starting, and humanity was ready. The diplomatic chamber of the Nexary Council gleamed with an ethereal light that seemed to pulse with collective consciousness. Ambassador Zara Klin studied the holographic reports of Earth's resistance with growing fascination. The Zorn Imperium had always been viewed as an unstoppable force, a galactic power that crushed any civilization in its path. But humanity was different. Unprecedented adaptive response. Zora murmured, her translucent fingers moving across the holographic display. Centuries of diplomatic experience had taught her to recognize potential, and what she saw in the human resistance was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Deep within the Nexary communication network, encrypted messages began to circulate. Other species who had suffered under Zorn oppression watched the human resistance with a mixture of hope and disbelief. A primitive species was doing what no one had managed in generations, fighting back effectively. On Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez received the first tentative communication from the Nexary diplomatic corps. The message was complex, layered with multiple levels of meaning that would have been incomprehensible to most human communicators. But her team had been preparing for this moment. It's an invitation, she explained to General Michael Chen, but it's also a test. The communication room buzzed with activity. Linguists, mathematicians, communication specialists, and diplomacy experts worked together to decode the intricate message. This was more than a simple first contact. This was a potential turning point in galactic politics. Sarah Chen's communication network went into overdrive. They had prepared for many scenarios, but a potential alliance with an advanced diplomatic species was not something they had fully anticipated. Every communication was carefully analyzed, every potential implication studied with microscopic detail. The Nexary had a unique political structure, a collective consciousness that valued information and potential above all else. Their society was built on understanding, on seeing potential where others saw only conflict. And in humanity, they saw something extraordinary. They're studying us, Marcus Webb observed, tracking the complex communication patterns, but they're also offering something. The offer came in layers: intelligence about the Zorn Imperium, understanding of galactic political structures, but more importantly, a recognition of humanity's unique approach to resistance. Ambassador Zara Klin presented the initial proposal to her council. The holographic representation of human resistance played out like a complex mathematical equation. Unpredictable, adaptive, full of potential energy waiting to be released. They fight not with a single strategy, Zora explained, but with a collective intelligence that adapts moment by moment. Where the Zorn see rigid structures, humans see opportunity. On Earth, the potential alliance created both excitement and caution. General Chen understood the diplomatic minefield they were navigating. This was not just about fighting the Zorn. This was about presenting humanity to a larger galactic community. Dr. Rodriguez's team worked tirelessly to prepare a response. Every word, every concept had to be carefully considered. They were not just communicating. They were representing their entire species. The first true communication came as a complex data package. It wasn't a simple message, but a comprehensive overview of human potential. Scientific discoveries, technological innovations, cultural achievements, a testament to human creativity and resilience. The Nexary were stunned. This was not a plea for help. This was an invitation to understand a species that refused to be defined by its current limitations. Humanity was presenting itself not as a victim, but as a potential partner. They are preparing, Ambassador Zara Klin told her council, not just to survive, but to thrive. The galactic community watched. The Zorn Imperium had made a critical mistake. They had attacked a species that would not just resist, but would transform the very nature of resistance. First contact was never simple, but this was something entirely new. Humanity was about to change everything. The research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains had transformed into something beyond a simple laboratory. It was now the heartbeat of human resistance, a crucible of innovation that burned with an intensity that would have been unimaginable just weeks before. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic projection of their latest breakthrough. Around her, a team of scientists from every conceivable discipline worked with a feverish determination that defied traditional scientific methodology. "Quantum entanglement communication system is stabilizing," announced Dr. Marcus Webb, his fingers dancing across a complex interface that seemed to blur the lines between biological and technological interaction. The device before them was unlike anything in human or alien technological history. A communication system that could not be intercepted, jammed, or even detected by conventional means. The breakthrough had come from an unexpected combination of disciplines: a quantum physicist working alongside a communication engineer, a neuroscientist collaborating with a computer specialist. Each breakthrough was a testament to human interdisciplinary thinking. Sarah Chen's communication network played a critical role. What had started as a defensive communication system was now a living, breathing network of human intelligence. Each disrupted alien communication channel became a learning opportunity, each intercepted transmission a chance to understand and adapt. In a separate section of the facility, engineers were dismantling captured alien technology with a surgical precision that would have seemed impossible just days earlier. Every circuit, every energy conduit was studied, understood, and then reimagined. "Look at this," Dr. Rebecca Martinez called out, pointing to a holographic model of a modified alien propulsion system. "We're not just copying their technology. We're improving it." The modification was revolutionary. Where alien technology followed rigid, predictable patterns, the human adaptations introduced elements of unpredictability, flexibility, and creative problem-solving that defied traditional technological constraints. General Michael Chen watched the developments with a mixture of amazement and strategic calculation. This was more than a technological arms race. This was a fundamental reimagining of how technology could be developed and deployed. "We're not just defending," he explained to his command team. "We're transforming the very concept of technological adaptation." The quantum communication system became their most significant breakthrough. Unlike traditional communication networks, this system could transmit information instantaneously across vast distances, with encryption methods that made alien interception impossible. Dr. Rodriguez explained the breakthrough to the gathered team. "It's not just about sending messages," she said, her eyes bright with the excitement of discovery. "It's about creating a communication network that is alive, that can adapt, that can learn." Across the globe, similar innovation centers were emerging. In Tokyo, a team of engineers developed adaptive shield technology that could change its molecular structure in microseconds. In Sao Paulo, researchers created energy weapons that could reconfigure themselves based on incoming threat signatures. The Nexeri Diplomatic Corps watched these developments with growing fascination. What they were witnessing was not just technological innovation. This was a species that viewed challenges as opportunities for transformation. They do not see technology as a fixed system, Ambassador Zara Klin reported to her council. They see it as a living, breathing entity that can be constantly reimagined. The captured alien technology became a classroom. Every piece was a lesson, every fragment an opportunity to understand, and then transcend existing technological limitations. Military researchers worked alongside civilian scientists, breaking down the traditional barriers between defense and innovation. Marcus Webb demonstrated a new communication protocol that could bypass traditional communication limitations. "We're not just sending messages," he explained. "We're creating a network that can think, adapt, and respond in real time." The innovation was not just technological. It was a fundamental reimagining of how technology could be developed, deployed, and understood. As night fell over the research facility, the holographic displays continued to pulse with new possibilities. Humanity was doing more than resist. They were transforming the very nature of technological innovation. The real revolution was just beginning. The pre-mission briefing room hummed with an electric intensity that bordered on controlled chaos. David Rice stood at the center of a holographic display, his weathered hands tracing the intricate path they would take into the heart of the Zorn command ship. Around him, a team of specialists represented the most diverse and skilled group ever assembled for a single mission. "This is a one-way ticket," Rice began, his voice calm and steady. "But it's our best chance to turn the tide of this invasion." The mission was audacious beyond comprehension. Infiltrate the primary Zorn command ship, a vessel that had conquered hundreds of civilizations. Penetrate its most secure systems. Deliver a strategic blow that would cripple the entire invasion force. Lisa Rodriguez, the team's communication specialist, had spent weeks breaking down alien communication protocols. Her fingers moved across holographic interfaces with a dancer's grace, revealing layers of encrypted systems that would have been impossible to crack just weeks earlier. "We've identified 3 primary vulnerabilities," she explained, highlighting sections of the ship's internal network. "But timing is everything. We have a window of approximately 17 minutes before our infiltration is detected." The team was a blend of skills that defied traditional military thinking. A former Special Forces operator stood next to a quantum physicist. A cybersecurity expert conversed with a biochemical engineer. This was humanity's true strength, the ability to bring together diverse perspectives and create something entirely new. General Michael Chen watched the mission preparation from the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The risk was astronomical. The potential reward was even greater. "They're not just attacking," Chen muttered to his second-in-command. "They're rewriting the rules of engagement." The infiltration began with a series of quantum communication bursts that created microscopic disruptions in the Zorn ship's defensive systems. Each burst was a carefully calculated intervention, designed to create momentary blind spots in their detection capabilities. David Rice led the first team, moving through the alien ship with a fluidity that seemed to defy the laws of probability. They had studied every captured piece of alien technology, every intercepted communication. Where traditional military doctrine would suggest caution, they chose bold, calculated risk. Aboard the Zorn command ship, Captain Vornak felt the first tremors of something going wrong. Subtle system fluctuations began to appear, almost imperceptible, but definitely wrong. The human team moved like a single organism. Each member anticipated the other's moves. Each action was part of a larger, more complex strategy that the Zorn could not comprehend. Primary communication hub approaching. Lisa Rodriguez whispered into her communication device. The quantum encryption made her voice crystal clear, undetectable by alien systems. What made the mission extraordinary was its underlying philosophy. This was not a traditional military strike. This was a surgical intervention designed to demonstrate humanity's true potential. Every movement was a message. Every system infiltration was a statement. Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the mission from the research facility. Holographic displays tracked the team's progress, showing the complex dance of infiltration and strategic intervention. "It's not about destruction," she explained to the team of scientists around her. "It's about showing them the true nature of human potential." The team reached the primary communication hub. Years of preparation, months of training, weeks of strategic planning came down to these crucial moments. David Rice looked at his team, a group that represented the best of human potential. "Now," he said simply. The infiltration became a symphony of technological intervention. Communication systems began to flutter. Critical defense mechanisms started to fail. The Zorn command ship, once considered invincible, became vulnerable. Captain Vornak realized too late the true nature of their miscalculation. This was not a primitive species to be conquered. This was a civilization that could adapt, innovate, and strike back in ways they had never anticipated. As the mission reached its critical point, humanity demonstrated something far more important than military might. They showed the galaxy what true potential looked like. The boldest move was just the beginning. The Zorn Imperium's central command tower pulsed with an increasingly erratic rhythm. Holographic displays flickered and died. Communication channels dissolved into static, and the once impenetrable system of galactic control began to unravel. Captain Vornak watched in growing horror as the network he had believed was unbreakable started to collapse. What had begun as a routine invasion of a seemingly primitive planet was now threatening the entire foundation of the Zorn's interstellar dominance. Dr. Elena Rodriguez monitored the cascading systems from the hidden research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains. Each fallen communication channel was more than a tactical victory. It was a demonstration of humanity's unique approach to complex systems. "It's not about destroying their network," she explained to General Michael Chen. "It's about revealing its fundamental weaknesses." Across the galaxy, species that had lived under Zorn oppression for generations began to take notice. The quantum communication network developed by human researchers allowed oppressed civilizations to share information in ways that had been impossible before. Sarah Chen's communication team worked with surgical precision. What looked like random disruptions were actually carefully calculated interventions. Each system failure was a deliberate and planned deconstruction of the Zorn's centralized command structure. "We're not just fighting," Sarah told her team. "We're revealing the true nature of their control system." The Nexeri Diplomatic Corps watched the unfolding events with growing fascination. Ambassador Zara Klin prepared a comprehensive report that would reshape galactic understanding of potential resistance strategies. "Observe how they dismantle not through brute force," Zara noted to her colleagues, "but through a deep understanding of systemic vulnerabilities." In orbital facilities and hidden communication centers, human researchers continued to push the boundaries of what was possible. The captured alien technology became a blueprint for understanding and ultimately defeating the Zorn Imperium. Marcus Webb demonstrated a new communication protocol that could bypass traditional communication limitations. "We're creating a network that can think, adapt, and respond in real time," he explained, showing how human innovation was fundamentally different from alien technological approaches. The mission was more than a military operation. It was a comprehensive deconstruction of an entire galactic power structure. General Chen understood the deeper implications. "This isn't just about winning a war," he told his command team. "This is about showing the galaxy a different way of existing." On the Zorn command ship, communication systems began to fail in ways that defied their understanding. What had been a rigid, hierarchical network was now becoming a chaotic mess of conflicting signals and broken connections. Captain Vornak realized the true nature of their defeat. The humans had not just attacked their systems, they had fundamentally reimagined how communication and control could work. Dr. Rodriguez's team had developed a distributed resistance network that could continue fighting even if individual components were destroyed. It was resilience personified, a living, breathing system that could adapt and survive. Across different planetary systems, species that had been subjugated for generations found new hope. The human resistance was more than a military campaign. It was a comprehensive reimagining of resistance itself. The Zorn Imperium's walls were not just crumbling. They were being systematically deconstructed, revealing the fundamental weaknesses that had been hidden for generations. "We're not just fighting," David Rice told his team during a critical mission briefing. "We're showing the galaxy a new way of understanding conflict and resistance." Each fallen communication channel told a story. Each disrupted system was a message to every oppressed civilization in the galaxy. Resistance was not about overwhelming force. It was about understanding, adaptation, and collective potential. The Nexeri Diplomatic Corps prepared a comprehensive analysis. What they were witnessing was more than a military conflict. It was a fundamental shift in how civilizations could understand power, communication, and resistance. As the Zorn command structure continued to dissolve, something extraordinary began to emerge. A new understanding of potential. A new way of thinking about survival and collective action. The walls were crumbling, and something remarkable was about to be born. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Dr. Elena Rodriguez concluded her presentation. Representatives from dozens of species listened with a mixture of awe and disbelief. What had begun as a simple invasion had transformed into a fundamental reimagining of interstellar cooperation. General Michael Chen stood beside her, a living testament to humanity's journey. The room was filled with species that had spent generations under oppression, now witnessing a completely new approach to resistance and survival. "We're not here to conquer," Elena explained, her voice steady and clear. "We're here to demonstrate that there's another way to exist in the universe." The Nexari ambassador, Zara Klin, stepped forward. Her translucent form shimmered with an intensity that spoke volumes. "Humanity has shown us something extraordinary," she announced to the assembled representatives. "A way of thinking that transcends traditional concepts of conflict and cooperation." The victory over the Zorn Imperium was more than a military triumph. It was a comprehensive deconstruction of galactic power structures that had existed for millennia. David Reyes, who had led the most critical infiltration missions, now found himself in a role he never expected, a diplomatic bridge between humanity and other galactic civilizations. His team, once a covert military unit, had become ambassadors of a new way of thinking. "Our strength was never about individual heroism," David explained during a strategy session. "It was about collective potential, about seeing challenges as opportunities for growth and understanding." The technological innovations developed during the conflict began to reshape galactic infrastructure. Communication networks became more adaptive, more inclusive. Defense systems were reimagined as collaborative protection mechanisms rather than tools of oppression. Sarah Chen's communication research became the foundation for a new interstellar communication protocol. What had started as a defensive technology was now a means of bringing diverse species closer together. Planetary systems that had been isolated for generations began to connect. The quantum communication networks developed by human researchers allowed for unprecedented levels of information sharing and collaborative problem-solving. Dr. Rebecca Martinez led a team of researchers exploring how the technological innovations could address long-standing challenges faced by different species. Medical breakthroughs, environmental solutions, and collaborative scientific research became the new frontiers of galactic exploration. The Zorn Imperium's fall was not just a military defeat. It was a complete transformation of galactic power dynamics. Species that had been oppressed for generations found themselves with unprecedented opportunities for self-determination. General Chen reflected on the journey. "We didn't win by being the strongest," he told a gathering of interstellar diplomats. "We won by being the most adaptable, by seeing potential where others saw only obstacles." The first human exploration ships prepared to venture beyond their solar system. But these were not vessels of conquest. They were ships of collaboration, of understanding, of shared potential. Marcus Webb's communication research teams worked alongside scientists from multiple species, creating technologies that could bridge cultural and biological differences. What had begun as a defensive strategy was now a path to mutual understanding. Ambassador Zara Klin presented a comprehensive analysis to her own council. "Humanity has introduced a new paradigm," she explained, "a way of thinking that values adaptation, collective potential, and mutual understanding over traditional concepts of power and control." The galactic landscape was changing. The rigid hierarchies that had defined interstellar relationships for millennia were dissolving. In their place, a more fluid, collaborative approach was emerging. Dr. Elena Rodriguez looked out at the assembled representatives. The journey had been impossible, unimaginable. And yet, here they were. "We're not just survivors," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "We're architects of a new way of existing." The exploration ships prepared for launch. Each vessel carried more than advanced technology. They carried a new philosophy, a new understanding of what was possible when diverse perspectives came together. As the first ship prepared to leave Earth's orbit, David Reyes watched from the command center. The stars seemed to shine with a different light. Possibility, potential, hope. The real journey was just beginning.